Hey team, Timbo here. Before we launch into episode 330 of the Small Business Big Marketing Show, I just want to share a couple of thoughts with you. How would you like a prospect to describe your business's personality? Fun, youthful and adventurous, or serious, academic and wise? There's no right or wrong answer to this all-important branding question, but as a business owner, it is a question you should get crystal clear on. Because when you know the answer, it will improve the quality of everything you get designed out of sight. You see, designers love the answer to this question as it gives them a solid direction to work with, and that's where DesignCrowd steps in. DesignCrowd is a marketplace that enables you to crowdsource all your graphic design needs from designers around the world who are ready to start work right now to make your business look amazing. So head over to designcrowd.com/Timbo, complete the brief, which will include describing your business's personality, and grab up to $100 off your first design project. Hey, speaking of mission-critical marketing concepts, are you frustrated by your business's social media presence? Like, you know you should be there, right? On Facebook, on Twitter, maybe on LinkedIn. But knowing what to post, when to post, and getting around to posting it can be a bit of a pain in the butt, right? Well, if you want to get control of these all-important marketing channels, then contact WebCentral, who have got this social media growth package, which for this show's listeners includes a $0 setup fee and a $100 Facebook advertising credit. You'll find all the details over at webcentral.com.au/Timbo. Now, we speak a lot on this show about the power of partnerships in marketing. After all, they're a solid way to exponentially grow your business. Well, today's guest, the young owner of a ski tour business, struck a partnership with Australia's two biggest airlines that helped launch his multi-million-dollar empire. And you're about to find out how he did it.
Well, I said, welcome to a small business marketing show, where successful small business owners share their souls to take your marketing straight to the lead. Now, here's your host, Mr. Timbo Reid.
And welcome back to another episode of Australia's #1 marketing show. I am your host, Timbo Reid. You, so much more importantly, infinitely more importantly, you're a motivated business owner and you are ready to crank out some great marketing to build that beautiful business of yours into the empire it deserves to be. It's pretty much what we do around here. Thanks for coming back. If it's your third or fourth or 300th time around, if it's your first time around, settle in. There's a big archive to go back through, and today's episode will be quite revealing in itself. Big show today. Quentin Nolan of Liquid Ski Tours is a young man on a mission. At the ripe old age of 31, he's just determined to create the world's best ski tour company. And right now, he has partnerships with Australia's two largest airlines and, wait for it, owns 6 hotels in Japan. Oh boy, stick around as he will shortly reveal how he's gone about it. Plus, I share part 4 of a 4-part series, which I hope you've been enjoying, in which I share some highly clickable email subject lines that will get more of your emails open more often. Kind of mission critical, really, in today's day and age, in today's marketing world. As per usual, team, there's marketing GOLD dripping from the ceiling over here at Small Business Big Marketing's HQ. So let's get stuck right in. Righto, coming up, got a great interview with a bloke who owns a lazy 6 hotels in Japanese ski resorts and is the master at building really good partnerships to exponentially grow his business. Lots to learn there. And there is also lots to learn on my upcoming Creating Freedom Through Outsourcing tour to the Philippines. In fact, it is tour number 3, and I'm very excited to announce it to you right now. Now, you've probably picked up as a business owner in Australia that the cost of running a business here is mightily expensive. And in fact, I reckon way too many businesses fail because of this. And if they don't fail, then they stagnate or don't get the growth they deserve because they can't afford to try new things. Does that sound familiar? I hear this story a lot. Well, it doesn't have to be that way, you see. The world has changed. And as I say, there has never, ever been a better time to run or market a small business. And in fact, reducing your running costs by up to 75% and creating the freedom in your business that you deserve is absolutely possible these days. You just need to know how to do it, where to look, and team up with the right people. So that's what this Creating Freedom Through Outsourcing tour to the Philippines is all about. It's a 4-day business transformation tour. It's hosted by myself and past guest David Warren. I'll put a couple of links in the show notes so you can go back and have a listen to what David has to say about this. But he has completely turned his business around through outsourcing to the Philippines. He lives over there now with his family and he's offering the service to other people. But this is a tour where you get to see, with me, all the outsourcing options available to small businesses in Australia in the Philippines. So we visit all different sorts of businesses, from dedicated marketing agencies to business process outsourcing businesses to call centres to places that allow you to find people online. We visit manufacturing, we visit other Australian businesses that are set up over there. And it's a lot of fun and it's an absolute eye-opener. As I said, 4 days, 3 nights, deluxe accommodation, all meals and drinks included whilst on tour, all transfers. You get a 1-hour pre-tour offshoring consult with David and a post-tour one as well. Now, if you're wondering whether it's for you, it is if you are a business owner who wants to build a low-cost business model that's going to unlock cash flow to allow you to do other stuff in your business, to fund growth. You love that. It's for you if you want to deliver exceptional customer service without spending a fortune, finding ways to be more competitive. If you want to engage a productive team offshore to build automation into your business. And it's for you, basically, if you want to take your current business to an exciting new level. So you can find out more about it over at smallbusinessbigmarketing.com/tour. What I can tell you, it is November 29 to December 2, 2016. The cost is twin share $2,990 or $3,490 single share, all inclusive except airfares, right? Everything else is included. I'm going to be on it. David's going to be on it. We're going to be joined by another mate of mine, great mate David Jennings, 2 Davids and a Timbo. David is a master at systematising your business. There is only 10 seats available. So I encourage you to check it out, smallbusinessbigmarketing.com/tour, and I hope to see you on there. Now, coming up, after this fireside chat, I share another 5 highly clickable email subject lines. But first, I reckon we get stuck in today's guest. What do you reckon? I think it's a good idea. Quentin Nolan is his name, from Liquid Snow Tours, which is an Aussie-owned ski tour operator that can book you a skiing holiday in Japan, Canada, New Zealand, South America. You know the kind of business. Now, here's the thing. Quentin's 31 years old. He started the business when he was 21, and it's currently turning over $8 million. He's got offices in Australia, Singapore, Japan. He sent 5,000 peeps on ski holidays just last year. 80% of his bookings come direct off his website, and the other 20% is through partnerships with Jetstar and Qantas. And he explains how he got them. Very, very interesting story that is. Plus, he owns 6 hotels in ski resorts in Japan. I'd just like to own a room in a ski resort in Japan. He's got 6 hotels with lots of rooms. So I started off by cutting to the chase and asking Quentin, how the at the age of 31 has he come to owning 6 hotels in Japanese ski resorts?
I mean, so Tim, it was a bit of a road to that, I guess.
I have no doubt. Let's explore that road.
So, mate, we started sort of taking people over to Japan about 10 years ago. So what I did then is I put on a trip over there, and I hadn't actually been there, but it was an area which was kind of up and coming, and there was a bit of interest in it from Australian skiers, and I thought it would be cool to go and check it out and get some other people to make that possible as well. So I put a trip on over there, and then really saw a lot of potential over there as a ski destination and as a place for Aussies to go on holidays. There's no time zone difference. There's the cultural side of it and the best snow in the world. So it was really a good combination. And then just kind of focused on that area. And as things developed, and as we had a good season, then went into sort of the property side and now there's 6 hotels in Huckabee and 1 in Miyoko.
Well, that's a very short road. I'm guessing it's a bit longer, Quentin. So, mate, so you went over at the age of 21. You've taken your first group of people over to Japan to ski, of which you hadn't been before. And mate, at 21, I can't even remember when I was 21, but what were you thinking at that point? Were you hoping that would turn into a business, or was it a way for you to make a quick buck and you didn't know what was going to happen next?
I did have the intention to turn it into a business and a considerable one as well. Before that, I was taking people up to the snow here. So when I was 20 to 21, I'd drive coaches from Sydney up to the snow or Melbourne up to the snow.
Working for the man.
Yeah, no, I was doing that for myself.
Your own, okay.
Yeah, so we'd get uni students together, or I'd approach a couple of different corporate groups, put together a weekend package, sort of leaving Sydney, for example, on a Friday afternoon, go down to Jindabyne for 2 nights, up and down each day. I'll drive the coach down there and look after them. Then come back on the Sunday night so people could go back to work or university or whatever it was.
Okay.
And then, so I had a bit of a market there of people that had already travelled with us. And then after our winter here, Japan being opposite snow seasons, there was a bit of an opportunity there to tap into our existing customer base and offer them a more considerable trip, which is what I did. And and everyone came over and they had a great time. I was pretty upfront with them that I hadn't been there and I was their tour guide. And
I love that.
Everyone was older than me, and so
Quentin, just tell me about that a little bit more, mate. Because we hear in books like The Lean Startup of this minimum viable product idea, where hey, don't wait for everything to be perfect. Just take action and do it. I guess, you're 22, you're at that age, so you're really not giving it much thought, except that, hey, I can do this, right?
It worked on a couple of levels. Like, I wanted to go over there snowboarding as well. And I was very upfront with people and put together a really good package. So it wasn't that things weren't booked or whatever. It was more that me as their tour guide hadn't been there. But I'd done a fair bit of research into it. Mm-hmm. And at that time, a lot of people were going up to Niseko, which is a resort up on the North Island of Japan. Mm-hmm. So there are a couple of Australian companies which were quite considerable operating up there. And in my research, I'd seen that Huckabee, which is on the main island, it's about 2.5 to 3 hours from Tokyo. It's where they had the Winter Olympics in 1998. The mountains are much bigger. It gets similar kind of snowfall, and it's a bit more accessible. So in my research, I was like, well, there's no one really doing things into Huckabee, so there's probably an opportunity there. And put this trip on and took the guys over and they had a great time. I've got a couple of them that still come on trips with me every year. And
there you go. 10
years later now, so yeah, it's not too bad.
That's the best testimony you'll ever get. So here you are, you're running these tours locally, overseas. You've branched out into some other countries, New Zealand, Canada, from what I understand. And there's a point in time, tell me if I'm missing something here, because I don't want to fast forward too quickly, but was it you getting a partnership with Jetstar, one of Australia's biggest airlines, that changed everything?
I mean, that definitely had a big impact on things. So by the time that we got the partnership with Jetstar, I'd been doing trips over to Japan for a few years. And it was a similar time that Jetstar just started operating their flights into Japan. They brought on the international side. Mm-hmm. And so I kind of saw an opportunity there to tie those two in together and, capitalise on their cheap flights and package that up with our ski packages. So I'd been speaking to Jetstar for a while about that. And that,
how long? What's a while?
It was probably one to 2 years.
Uh-huh. So you are building a little relationship here. You're not doing any business with them, but you just you realise that they could be a huge point of leverage for your business, and you are just letting them realise what an unbelievably good bloke you are. Is that fair?
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I did put the idea to them initially, and I guess the first step was getting in contact with the correct person there, and to start to build that relationship. I mean, when they started those flights initially, they didn't really have the systems in place to offer sort of fully packaged up trips to their clients direct. Mm-hmm. So it was more, keeping in contact with them and keeping that relationship going. And then when they were ready to take that on, then we were the natural choice to sort of start with.
What's that look like? Because, I mean, some business owners are more desperate than others, I suppose. It depends where your business is at. But, for you realise Jetstar could potentially be huge for you. But do you just buy your time? And what does that 1 to 2 year relationship look like? Is it a coffee every 3 months or what?
I guess it was just touching base with the correct person there every probably 6 months, seeing how she was going in there, having a meeting with her, because they had the intention to leverage off their flights to sort of earn some income off other areas, holidays, an add-on product that they can offer. That's sort of their model there, and so it was certainly something that they intended on doing. They just weren't ready to do it. Yeah. And it wasn't about trying to push them into something and rush them. They're a big company and they'll do it when they're ready. Like they don't need me to, make too many suggestions.
There wasn't a meeting at head office going, "Oh, mate, Quentin is breathing down our neck. We've really got to make a move here."
Yeah, not quite.
So what was clearly the point came when your contact at Jetstar, she's called you and said, "We are starting flights into Tokyo." So what happened then? You put your hand up and said, "Righto, we're ready to offer the package part of it, the holiday part of it."
Yeah, I mean, so it was interesting actually. Like the initially when they were ready to do it, so we arranged a ski campaign over to Japan. So Jetstar basically discounted their flights by 50% and then packaged that up with a full ski package that we offer. So that's like your transfers from the airport, your accommodation, lift tickets each day, that sort of thing. And for the initial campaign that they did, they used 2 suppliers. So they used me and another supplier. And when we did the sale, we got through us, we booked about 200 people in. And through the other supplier, I think it was 12 people. So there was a pretty big difference there. And that, in my mind, was just the value that we were offering our clients. So our packages were a fair bit cheaper than the alternative, which was through a competitor at the time. But because of that situation, because of those numbers, and then there was also a bit of an error in the way that was booked, which came to be a good thing for me.
What do you mean?
Well, basically when they put it together, they load all the inventory into their system, and they'd had an error in the way that they'd loaded that inventory. So we had, say, for example, 50 nights in a hotel available for the whole season, and they completely overbooked it. And they had 1 week, for example, where they had 150 people booked into this hotel that's got 50 beds.
50 beds.
And so initially they thought that was my mistake, and it came back. It was a bit of to and from just to work out exactly what went on there. And then I was able to sort that out for them and offer people an upgrade at no additional cost, and look after all those clients. So everyone actually did much better out of it. Jetstar.
Love that.
So Jetstar were able to sell more, get more revenue. And then we did, I was able to kind of solidify that relationship as well, I guess, and look after more clients and also build my database.
Okay, so let me just unpack that a little bit more for listeners, because that is another pivotal moment where it could have all fallen into a heap, right? And that Jetstar relationship could have disappeared. But so whose fault was it? Who was really responsible for the overbooking there?
I mean, it was Jetstar's fault, and just the way their data entry into their reservation system.
So, did you at some point need to just look her in the eye and go, "It's your fault, but I'll dig you out," or did you more kind of subtly just say, "Listen, doesn't matter whose fault it is, let's just work it out and turn a negative into a positive"? What happened?
I mean, initially when the problem came up, the product manager who I'd been working with, her boss got onto me in quite I wouldn't say aggressive, but thinking that it was my fault, yeah. and putting it all back on us. And then when I didn't necessarily just go back and shift the blame back to them, but I showed them what had happened and then gave them an alternative on how we could look after all the clients and make sure that everyone had a good trip, which is what worked out. And then, so that worked in both of our favours, I guess, at the end of the day.
What about the other bloke from the other wholesaler? Well, he's only sold 12, so he's probably just licking his wounds, is he?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, believe it or not, he's not in business anymore.
No,
so.
Really? Can't believe that.
I guess, Tim, one of the things that's been successful for us is that I have people on the ground over in Japan. So we look after people from the get-go. And by doing that and having Japanese staff that can make these contacts with the hotel, we can offer that level of value and service that someone sitting here in an office and going through a local wholesaler, then a Japanese wholesaler, then the Japanese wholesaler will go to the hotel direct. They can't offer that same level of value. So that's probably where our packages varied back then, and they still do, to be honest.
Even back then, even at the start of that Jetstar relationship, was one of your points of difference having people on the ground?
Yeah, I mean, I was on the ground. So I've been going over there for the last sort of 11 seasons. And I think back then I had one or two staff. So the three of us would be over there, then come back here. Now I've got staff in Japan year round. I've got a whole reservations team, which are all Japanese and all work with all the local hotels and all the local suppliers and are in the resort year round. And that makes a huge difference for us.
It is a big difference. I have an interest in a business in the Philippines, and whilst I'm not on the ground, my business partner is, and that is, again, a massive point of difference because you can literally react there and then. If a client needs something addressed, you are there. You don't have to kind of, there's no delay. So that helps in a big way. Tell me, you then, so Jetstar bedded down, happy days, away we go. You are now a major supplier, correct me if I'm wrong, to their partner airline or their parent airline, Qantas.
Yeah, so from that Jetstar relationship, I guess we've developed into now doing all the ski trips for Qantas as well. So we basically have a page sitting on the Qantas website, qantas.com/ski, and that has and that's a white label site. So what that means is that someone will go to that page, and even though it's on Qantas, they'll come directly through to my business here in Sydney. And then we'll package up their trip for whatever they're after. So my staff in here will put together whatever somebody's needs are, and then combine that with their Qantas flights if they came through the Qantas site, and then look after their holiday that way. So it's given us access to a whole database of people and a really good brand association as well with a leader in travel. So it's worked on a number of levels.
Mate, that is just a massive coup, Quentin, to be able to white label on the Qantas website and get that kind of business. Which, interestingly, I think one of the figures that you gave me when we spoke a couple of weeks ago was that you're only getting 20% of your business from the airlines. Is that right? You're still getting 80% of your customers come through your website?
Yeah, correct. So we do get about 80% of our business direct, which is great for us.
And would it be fair there's better margins on that business?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. There's the margins are doubled on direct business than when it comes through a third party. But the airlines have kind of contributed to that success as well in a way, because we've been doing Jetstar for the last I think it's been about 7 years, and where people in the industry or clients know that, you know, we're like a reputable source, and we're one of the sort of major players, and part of that's come from them associating us with Jetstar or Qantas, and by being their sole kind of ski providers. You get a lot of value out of that as well, and a lot of that does come back direct, where people, the option that they want might not be specifically on the Jetstar page, but then they'll come to us direct and ask us for something a bit different.
Your intention, I'm guessing, is to grow, not to grow the airline business, it's to grow direct business.
I mean, it's a combination of both, Tim. Like, we're focusing more over the next few years. One big growth area for us is Asia, and so I'm looking to establish similar relationships to what I have with Qantas and Jetstar, with some carriers from, whether that be from Hong Kong into Tokyo or China. I'm going to China pretty soon.
You're not going on China. You're not going on China Southern, are you?
I haven't. Mate,
I haven't flown with them, but every time I'm at the airport and I look out the window of the plane I'm in and I see that China Southern plane sitting there, I get nervous. I go,
mate, the Chinese airlines have come a long way. They've got a bad reputation, but the last few years they're really building on it. I haven't, to be fair, I haven't flown with them too often, but how much soon.
I look forward to a report. So, Quentin, I do want to talk about the other part, the direct part of the business, but before we leave partnerships, because I think this is a really interesting discussion. You've mastered the art of striking partnerships with big, in this case, airlines that have given you massive leverage and helped you grow the business to where it is today. And you've talked about the idea of just starting to socialise yourself within the business. You got to know the lady at Jetstar quite well before there was even work for you. But you got 2 or 3 other tips for listeners who are wanting to establish partnerships with key people? I mean,
I don't think you necessarily have to look like to an airline or something that big. I mean, I actually, Tim, just got off a Skype to a heli-ski company over in New Zealand, and we're arranging a situation. So at the end of the winter, which is coming up, end of September, they'll send out an email to their database promoting Japan trips through us, and we'll give their database an offer, a discount, or whatever it is that we work out. But that gives us access to a really good market of people that go heli skiing. So they're sitting right. They're the perfect customer for us. They're keen skiers or snowboarders. They travel to go and do it, and they're looking at spending a reasonable amount of money to do that as well. So that's and that relationship. I mean, I have known these guys for quite a while, but they're the kind of relationships that as soon as you can make it beneficial for both parties, I think any other small business owner is quite open to. If you can offer them some value, offer their clients some value, and then it works for you in return, then why would someone say no to that?
I think the Latin for it is quid pro quo, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
That's as much as Latin as I know. It just impressed myself. So let's go. Okay, so partnerships, tick. You are working hard to entrench yourself in that whole Asian market. You're getting 80% of your business online. You've now got back to the hotel question. So you how many hotels do you own? 6 in Japan?
Yeah, so we own 6 in Japan now. Correct. Yeah. So 5 of them are in one resort, and then another's in a more kind of up-and-coming resort called Miyako Kogen.
So how and why do you buy your first hotel in Japan?
Well, my first one was initially because, back then we were doing more kind of budget-orientated trips, and an opportunity came up there to buy a place, which is in a great location. It's right next to the lifts, and it's an awesome venue. Good, we put a good bar in there. And it was another area that we could look after our own customers and have control of that product. So kind of control it right from the beginning through to the end, just to make sure that everyone that came over had the best holiday possible. We didn't have an issue no availability when we're trying to book people in because we controlled the availability. And then it just worked the whole way down. So
you make it sound easy, but like let's drill down into clearly at some point you've been looking at the invoices and going, geez, we're sending a lot of money to these other hotels in these resorts in which we're taking our people. That money could be going directly into our coffers. Would that kind of the conversation?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And now with the other 5 places we've got, they range from kind of a mid-level hotel up to quite deluxe ski and ski out options, and a lot of those became possible for me through my current business partner in those different hotels. He owns a 5-star hotel over in Huckabee called Phoenix Hotel, and my travel company were their biggest customer, right? So basically Adrian was like, I want to meet this guy who's sending us all the business, to his manager at the time. And I went down and had dinner with him at a Japanese restaurant in Melbourne. The first night we were at dinner, I was talking to him about Jetstar, and one of the challenges I had with Jetstar was that their customers are real kind of mid-level kind of customers that want a decent hotel with an ensuite close to the lifts, but not too expensive. And I didn't have control of that product. So I'm using Japanese hotels or other hotels where, they had funny things like they'd block out Saturday nights because that's when the local kind of customers would come. So it was difficult to make 7-night bookings and this type of thing. So the first night I met Adrian and we're having this chat down in Melbourne, and we were talking about it, and he was like, well, mate, so-and-so has been offering me the Springs Hotel. Do you want to go halves in that? And I was like, absolutely. So the first night I met him, we bought a hotel together.
Oh, I love it.
It's only been onwards and upwards from then as well. It's been great. Everything.
So many questions, so little time. But, good on you. Clearly, plenty of business courage showing there. But did it change the way you do business? Because you've gone from essentially being a bloke who runs a lot with a team of people, a lot of ski holidays to Japan and other countries, to now being a hotel owner, which surely requires a whole lot of different skill sets, and all of a sudden your business changed overnight.
It did, and I mean, and it's been a challenge. It's, I guess, like any business though, Tim, it's getting the right staff in place and having the right people in those key positions. And one of the challenges with hotels and ski resorts in Japan is that the business being seasonal, it's hard to retain staff for a long time.
Yeah.
It's not only that, but the visa situations, you can only get a 2-year working holiday visa. So after 2 seasons, you're basically training new staff. And that's definitely been a challenge, and it's an ongoing one. I mean, the hotel side of it works on a couple of levels for us. We do see it as being a very good property investment as well, with the rise of China and the middle class in Asia looking to kind of get involved in these type of activities. We see it from 2 sides, like the way that can support the travel business, that being a good property investment in its own right, and then making revenue from the hotels as a business as well. So it's that combination has been what's kind of made that kind of successful, or what's made that appealing to me, I guess. And where we've run certain places for a few seasons without making any profit off it or reinvesting everything. And I'm happy to do that because at the moment I want to grow things and build things and get, and take it to the next level as well. So I'm not, I don't need to draw an income out of a hotel in Japan.
Once you buy one, it's easy to buy the next 5, is it? It kind of the roller coaster begins.
I mean, I wouldn't say it's easy. I mean, I've got to make sure things are working on every level to make that possible.
Yeah.
But it does, now that I've been there for a while and got a reputation, and I know the local kind of business owners and the local sort of like heads of the resort and the mayor of the town and that sort of thing, then opportunities do come up that wouldn't be available to somebody going into Huckabah and saying, I want to buy a hotel. What have you got? Things come up for us that wouldn't be available for other people.
Give us some insight into doing business with the Japanese, Quentin. I often, they're pretty particular about how they hand the business card over. And I know you're not meant to put it in your back pocket because that means you're sitting on their business or something. And certain handshakes. Give us some ideas there.
I guess things are taken a lot slower over there. Change can happen, but it happens a lot slower than what I would have liked in the past. I've had to learn to be a lot more patient than I was previously. And it's about relationships, So now, Tim, where the first couple of years, which when I was trying to get things done quickly and short term, and it could be a bit frustrating, now because I invested in those relationships and we've shown people that, that we're good for it and that we're there for the long term, and we're not, and we've got that scale as well. Now opportunities will come up that another Australian company going over there and saying, hey, can you give me the same rates as him, or can you do this, or can you do that? They won't do, because it takes time, and that's where that side of it's starting to pay off now,
right?
Because it's a lot slower, I think, to get things done over there than it could be here, and there is a lot of bureaucracy in planning and everything else, and that's part of doing business there. So if you don't like it, then you shouldn't be operating there, in my mind.
Fair enough. Tell me, marketing of Liquid Snow Tours, not just into Japan, but into the other countries. You mentioned to me when we first got talking about social media being the most powerful thing you can do, or at least sponsoring other companies who have strong social media presence. Is that kind of how you get the word out?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I guess marketing's pretty fluid, and we've gone through different steps. Like when I started my business, I could run the whole thing. I could get 100% of my business from AdWords. But now,
those days are gone.
Those days are well and truly gone. Like I was looking at this last week with one of the guys in the office here, and AdWords almost isn't viable for us at all anymore.
Because of the cost per click?
Just because the cost, when you're paying $3 a click, and then you work out those ratios of how many people to your site, how many of them result in an inquiry, of every inquiry, how many bookings that relates, and then what margin you're making off each booking, then it gets to a point where it's just worth it. Mm-hmm. I mean, Facebook has proved to be a lot more viable in advertising and quite good in the way, obviously, that you can target your different segments and putting things up on Facebook, and then when they're getting a good reach, then sponsoring it and pushing money that way.
Yep.
That gets us more traction, I think, than necessarily just going on there and putting an offer out as an advertisement. I mean, with the social media side, I do kind of see that a lot as well in a relationship building exercise. So we'll put up content people actually want to watch, or things that are actually interesting, and then they come and see that and they engage with that, and then when they're ready to book a trip, naturally they're going to come to us because we're in the front of their mind, and they associate, whether it's Japan ski trips or going heli skiing in New Zealand or whatever it is, they'll associate that back to us, and that's where I see the benefit in social media as opposed to just trying to get the quick direct sale out of it.
Yeah, right. You also do, I think there's, like, for example, a sponsorship of Mountain Watch, this Mountain Watch website, where what do you give them a prize to give away, which then they promote through social media, and you're just getting all this free coverage for the cost of a prize? Is that how it works?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I mean, so we did an event down at Mount Buller a few weeks ago, in conjunction with Mountain Watch, where we gave away a week's accommodation and a few other things in Japan, and then then from that they've got a lot of really good content from that ski event, which they push on social media and push through their channels, and they're kind of the go-to website and a media company. They own the main ski magazine, the main snowboard magazine,
right.
And so they're the kind of the go-to guides for people in the industry, and so having that association, and having them link through everything back to us creates value as well. Mm-hmm. I mean, at the moment we're giving away, and here's a good one for your listeners. We're giving away a trip over in Japan, in Miyako Kogen, and it's available on the Mountain Watch to go enter the competition. So people can, and they've been pushing it pretty hardly, and so people can enter that competition, and in return, we'll get a copy of that database.
Yeah, right.
And then we can market directly to those guys in the future. And I mean, this is all kind of in the partnership side as well. Like I actually had a meeting up there yesterday, and we're looking at putting on a big kind of ski event, not this coming season, but the following season, which would be a big ski week with different ski and snowboard events, and then bands and DJs at night time, kind of like a festival for a week-long package in March 2018. Mm-hmm. And Mountain Watch are really keen to push that out to all their people, and so we'll get a whole another level of reach that we don't have directly, and be able to offer another alternative, which it's gonna be great, and people are going to jump right onto.
Quentin, what do you love about what you do, mate?
I mean, I always thought that I'd go into business, so it's not like it's an excuse to go snowboarding.
Yeah.
But it is the combination of being in control of your own destiny, I guess. Like, if I'm slacking, if I don't go out there and actively push these things and come up with these new relationships and new ideas and constantly evolve, then I'll turn into the same old boring company competition is. You know what I mean? Like,
yep.
And so it's that constantly kind of evolving it and taking it to the next level. But then also what that creates, and that's the lifestyle that I want to live. And I spend the winter over in Japan each year, and when it's been snowing all night, like I'll be out on the hill snowboarding. Like I'm not going to be sitting in an office all the time. But then when there's work that needs to be done, then I'd rather get that done. I can't go on holidays for too long because my mind's just going at a million miles an hour.
Mm-hmm. Workaholic?
I wouldn't say workaholic. But,
well, clearly not. You find time to snowboard, but when there's work to be done, look out.
Yeah, and it's I guess it's constantly on my mind. So like, there's always thoughts, and I find it. I travel a fair bit with work and for fun as well. But I find when I'm on an aeroplane, I can actually often achieve a lot more because I'm outside of my office environment and I'm thinking about new ideas and new partnerships that we could create. And then I'll get off the plane and we'll have already written some emails, and I'll get off the plane and shoot that straight over. And then that's, that can start things off, just moving around and having a bit of a different environment as well.
What do you think about airlines getting Wi-Fi in Australia? Good or bad?
I don't actually like it.
Me too.
I'd rather, and I mean, I'm on Wi-Fi 24/7.
Correct.
But so it's nice to have a place where there isn't that option. People can't contact me. I think that's when my brain can actually start to focus on some more growth things rather than the now of like what's happening immediately.
I think
today.
It'll be a complete disaster. Maybe you could tap your Jetstar and Qantas people on the shoulder. This show goes on Virgin Airlines, so I'll tap them on the shoulder, and maybe we get a bit of a campaign going that says, we don't need that, guys. We don't need it. Because my greatest fear is as soon as you have Wi-Fi, it means you've got Skype. And when you've got Skype, you can have phone calls. So does that mean they're going to be surrounded by people on the phone?
Absolutely, yeah. And, everyone's sending messages and talking back and forth. In Japan, Tim, on the trains over there, you're not allowed to use your phone. It's great.
Really?
Oh, you can go, if you want to use your phone, you can go to the in between carriages and talk on the phone there.
Are you talking suburban trains?
Yeah, like the metro, like subway, and and the Shinkansen, the bullet trains.
I did not know that. And what's the thinking behind that?
Well, it's just a space where they don't want you to disturb other people.
God, how
and so
that?
it's a very respectful culture, and that's one of the great things for people to go to Japan on a holiday. You can take your kids over there, and there's so much they can learn about respect. And an example, Tim, is like I'll drive down the street and I'll stop at a red light because someone's got a green man to cross the road. It'll be like a teenage boy will be crossing the road. He'll get to the other side, turn around, bow to me, bow to the car on the other side, and continue walking. And that's a teenage boy in Japan. Yeah. You can't imagine that happening here.
No, that's beautiful. Mate, I didn't realise that. There you go. Well, I think maybe what you should do now is get a bunch of podcasters and bloggers, give the bloggers a run too, and I can see a media junket happening. So we can learn all about this. It's great. And the more media and the more things that we can get over there, the better. All right, mate. Well, I look forward. You've got my email address. I look forward to the invite.
All right, great. I might see you over there on the slopes.
Hey, Quentin, loved it, mate. If listeners want to book a tour, I think it's liquidsnowtours.com. Is that correct? And are you on Twitter?
I'm not on Twitter, Tim. I was struggling to get my Skype going when we started this conversation. But people can find me on Facebook or just through the website where all our contact details are, and things will come directly to me.
Love it. Well, I think it's a great story, Quentin. Thanks for reaching out initially and suggesting that you come on the show, because certainly caught my attention at the ripe old age of your 20s. You were striking deals with big airlines and building. I think you have a dream. I read somewhere, I'm sure, that you want to be the biggest snow tour holiday provider in the world. Is that kind of where it's headed?
Yeah, I think so. I mean,
I
think so, yeah. We'll give it a crack anyway.
You give it a crack, mate. Eh? If you come second, it won't be a bad thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Thanks, buddy.
All right, thanks, Tim. Cheers, mate.
Well, there you go, team. Quentin Nolan, Liquid Snow Tours. LiquidSnowTours.com is his web address if you wanted to check that business out. Maybe you want to go on a snow trip. That'd be a good idea. Hey, coming up, I share 5 more highly clickable email subject lines, plus my top 3 attention grabbers from that fireside chat with Quentin. Things that really kind of got me sitting up and taking notice. But first, here's a word about a couple of businesses that want to help you build that beautiful business of yours into the empire it deserves to be. The Small Business Big Marketing Show is grateful for the support of Aussie-owned business DesignCrowd.com, the world's #1 custom design marketplace where it is beautifully simple and cheap, I love cheap, to get a design you love guaranteed. I asked founder Alec Lynch what problems DesignCrowd solved for us small business owners.
Buying design has traditionally been an expensive process, a slow process, and a risky process. DesignCrowd's crowdsourcing solution fixes those problems.
DesignCrowd, a faster, cheaper, more creative way to get a custom logo, graphic, or print design for your business. For a special VIP offer that can save you up to $100 on your first design, visit designcrowd.com/Timbo. Support for this show comes from website experts WebCentral. If you've ever tried to get a website designed and developed, you'll know it can be a bit like pulling teeth. Verity Ma, WebCentral's Chief Marketing Officer, agrees.
It's actually very time consuming because it's not just building it and getting it live. If you want to run a successful online business, you have to also manage it, update it regularly with content, optimize it for SEO, probably run some advertising on either search or Facebook. And so that's not what really you want to spend your time doing in your business. You want to be focused on your customers and really converting those leads that you're getting from your website into true sales.
WebCentral, freeing you up to focus on getting that cash register ringing. If you need your website updated, or maybe you just need a website, visit webcentral.com.au/Timbo for some exclusive listener offers. Righto, my top 3 attention grabbers with Quentin Nolan from Liquid Snow Tours. Number 1, partnerships take time. So I would encourage you to find the right ones and the right person inside each of them, and then here's the secret sauce. Be patient and just put in the groundwork, Bit of foreplay first before going in for the kill, if you know what I mean. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Say no more. Attention grabber number 2. Be upfront with people like Quentin was in those first couple of years when he was taking ski tours to Japan, having not been there himself. I think if you're passionate and excited enough and that shines through, then I think we, as a race of human beings, can be quite forgiving. So don't try and be something you aren't. Just be upfront with people. Attention grabber number 3. Own other parts of the value chain. Buying hotels probably wasn't on Quentin's to-do list until he realised how much money he was giving across to his hotel partners. So where are you sending a lot of money? That could be yours. What other parts of the value chain could you own? That's what grabbed my attention, guys. What grabbed yours? I really would love to know. Head over to smallbusinessbigmarketing.com/330 and let me know. It's now time for part 4 of Insanely Clickable Email Subject Lines. Now, if you missed part 1, 2 and 3 of this little segment, then I encourage you to go back and have a listen to the last 3 weeks' episodes where I shared the first 15 insanely clickable email subject lines. But in case you didn't realise it, a key factor in whether your emails get opened or not depends to a very large extent on the catchiness, the stickiness of your email's subject line. So put the time and effort and enjoyment into writing them. I've said it before, but I spend probably 80% of the time in crafting an email on the email subject line. I think it's really important. Past guest Jay Bayer recently shared a stat indicating that 84% of people aged 18 to 34 use an email preview pane, which kind of reinforces the importance of nailing your email subject line if you want to get them opened. So here's 5 more styles of subject lines with examples that will make sure your emails do get opened. And a big thank you to Emily Dowdle, who put these together over at optinmonster.com. Number 16. Yeah. Envy-inducing. This is where you use successful people to drive home your point. So an email with a subject line like 8 things Richard Branson does before breakfast would have a high open rate. Or maybe how to pick investments like Warren Buffett would have another high open rate. So obviously, being not Richard Branson or Warren Buffett, you need to go and do your research and find out how they would go about things. But those kind of email subject lines do get open. Number 17, teasing. An email subject line that teases is like an itch you've got to scratch. Users will click open your email simply to get an answer because you've been teasing them. Examples would be, here's the best advice I can give you. Hey? Teasing them to open the email. Or another one would be 3 simple tricks to avoid procrastination. People are going to want to open that. They might defer opening that one, you know what I mean, but they'll get around to it. Boom, boom. Number 18, be challenging. So you issue a command to your readers in the nicest way by challenging them to do something. But make your call to action specific, clear, and really easy to complete. So, for example, an email subject line could be, got what it takes to run a 5K marathon? Oh, well, that's not really a marathon, is it? I'll take that back. Got what it takes to run 5K? Prove it. Or another one would be, hey, business owners, which works better? ? So challenging them in your email subject line. Number 19, it's a hard word to say this, accusatory. Be accusatory. Yeah. If you're seeing low participation, you know what I mean? I'll say that again. If you're seeing low participation rates from your email list, then ask your readers why. if done well, this accusatory I can't get it right. Accusatory subject line will remind your readers that you're still around and encourage them to participate again. So something like, "Why don't you read our emails?" ? Or, "Sorry, are we boring you?" So take the fight up to them. I'm not going to say that word again. And the last insanely clickable email subject line strategy is number 20, and it is statistical. That's much easier to say. This is where you add hard numbers to your email subject line to catch the attention of your users. Things like, "How to improve your open rate by 55%, or "Darren just increased revenue by 53% in 6 months." So using those hard numbers, which people love, to encourage open rates. So there you go, guys. That was 20 insanely clickable email subject lines, all with examples that I've covered in the last 4 weeks in episodes, this one, 330, 329, 328, 327. So head over to smallbusinessbigmarketing.com if you would like to find out what the other ones were. Now, what I'd love to know from you is what types of email subject lines have you had the most success with? I'd love to know. Then we can build on this list and kind of create a valuable little archive that I can build up and create a blog post from and then share it with you, because that's kind of the guy I am. So there you go. What's working for you? I hope you found that useful. Look out for a new segment in next week's episode about another very interesting marketing topic. Now, that almost wraps up another episode of the Small Business Big Marketing Show. But boy, oh boy, have I got some good interviews coming up. Next week, we go deep, deep inside an amazing fashion retailer called Spell and the Gypsy Collective. You know, just 8 years ago, it was made up of 2 sisters selling jewellery in a car park market in Byron Bay. Today, it's doing well over $1 million a month and growing exponentially. 50 staff, they've got online presence, they've got a shop, they've got all sorts of stuff going on. Look out for that one. Geez, I love what I do. You know, getting under the hood with motivated and successful business owners and discovering what you and I can learn from them really, really lights my fire. One chat that stands out was with search engine optimization aficionado Rand Fishkin of Moz. Now, there's no shortage of SEO experts in the world, right? All promising to get you to the top of Google. However, I got to say, Rand is the real deal, having been ranked number 2 by Forbes magazine, 1 behind, by the way, Google's Matt Cutts. Here's Rand reminding us of the importance of Google.
I love figuring this out. I love the idea that, Google is one of the most powerful companies in the world, not just from a revenue perspective, although they're certainly up on the top of those lists too, but from a control of access to information, right? They just influence so much of how we understand and perceive the modern world. And I think the fact that so few of us understand how that information is delivered to us and what might be hiding in there, what biases exist, is tragic. And it shouldn't be that way. It doesn't need to be that way.
You can hear my full interview with Rand as he demystifies Google and the world of search engine optimization, plus hundreds more, over at smallbusinessbigmarketing.com, or you can subscribe free on iTunes, which I would love you to do. That way, you never miss another episode. And while you're there, leave a listener review on iTunes. I would love that, with a marketing question. And I read those listener reviews and I'll answer your marketing question on an upcoming show. Hey, be sure to check out DesignCrowd.com/Timbo. They are an ideal way to get any marketing touch points designed for that beautiful business of yours. Plus, there is an exclusive listener offer waiting for you that'll save you up to $100 on your first design. And remember, social media management doesn't need to be left to you, and it doesn't need to be as hard as you're making it. You've got enough to do already, right? So be sure to check out WebCentral's social media growth package over at webcentral.com.au/Timbo if you'd like them to take it off your hands. Social media, that is. Hey, if you love the Small Business Big Marketing Show, then go and pay it forward by letting another business owner know about it. one who could do with a little bit of marketing love. Because I've got to tell you, there is plenty of marketing love where this came from. Until next week, I am Timbo Reid, always have been, always will be. Thanks for listening to the Small Business Big Marketing Show. May your marketing be the best marketing. Bye for now.